Hare Krishna. Welcome you all for our e-Gurukula sessions, and today is uh, Tuesday, right? We have a story session, and as we are doing, the Mahabharata series is going on. So, and today comes a very amazing episodes. How last week also we studied, right? How Pandavas learned in the Gurukul. So Gurukul means what? Kula means the house, the place, and Guru means the teacher, the spiritual teacher. So Gurukul means the house of a teacher where the student goes and learns. And that's why it's very much important in our life also to learn from the teachers in this age. The more we learn now, the more it will make us very, very better for the future, this age. So this is a learning age, right? Then later it is earning age. So now we learn more, right? The more it will be easy for us when we go ahead in our life. And that's where you'll find all the great personalities. Even Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, right? They also took avatars. They also had gone to Gurukuls, right? And great kings like Bharat Maharaj and many other things we study in the scriptures, right? Everyone have gone to the Gurukul age, in the Gurukul in their childhood age, and they have learned under the Guru's instruction. So now we don't have any physical setup, but the principle can be applied. Although we're online or different places or so, the principle, the spirit can be proper. And the more we discipline ourselves in the homes, right, the more we'll be able. Because Guru's ashram means there will not be so much comfort. There will not be so much pampering as the parents they do in the homes. There we have to do the discipline, like how Krishna and Balaram went to bring firewoods, right? Lord Rama and Lakshman, they served their Guru by guarding in the night times and all. So many ways we see how they were being serving their teachers. So service is being trained. So in our homes also, we can learn to serve our parents, help them in the daily chores, right? And whatever way we can try best along with our academics and become Krishna conscious by doing chanting, by coming in the association of devotees, right? Then the same benefit will get as the ancient time the students used to go in the Gurukuls. Okay, so let us see what happens to the Pandavas further studying their life, how they grow ahead in their future. Let us begin with the prayers. Already some prayers you are hearing, I think. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanutam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyareshadarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratushe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I hope you are able to see the Veda-based screen here as well. So this is reading from the book Mahabharata, chapter 3. The Pandavas come to Hastinapur. So the birth of the Pandavas happened in the forest, in the range of Himalayas, as we read in the last session. Now today, we'll be studying this chapter after the birth of the Pandavas, when they learnt from the sages in the forest how they come further for their future ahead in their life. And that's why this chapter especially speaks about Pandavas coming to Hastinapur. Right, so let's start. In Hare Krishna. Can someone confirm? You all are able to see the screen, right?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Prabhuji, yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. In Hastinapur, Dhritarashtra had performed the 5 sacrifices with the wealth Pandu had bestowed upon him. He gave charity to the hundreds of thousands of Brahmins and satisfied the gods with his offerings. The kingdom flourished and the citizens had everything they desired. They were devoted to virtue, sacrifice, and truth. Bearing love and affection for one another, they grew in hospitality. They grew in prosperity. Hastinapur was like the ocean filled with the numerous palaces and mansions. There were golden arches and crystal fountains everywhere. Between broad, paved highways lay beautiful gardens, and the air was filled with the sweet fragrance of blossoming trees. The clatter of horses' hoofs and chariot wheels mixed with the trumpeting of elephants and the blare of the conch shells, which marked the beginning of sacrificial performances. Holy chants uttered by numerous Brahmins emanated from tall and exquisitely carved temple buildings, which graced the city in their thousands. Means what? Thousands of temples were there, okay? Hastinapur appeared like Indra's celestial capital, and each day dozens of feudal kings would arrive bringing tributes. They used to bring their tributes to offer the king. So we read this paragraph. Anyone would like to bring out some very amazing observation? Let us see how many of you understood it. Very amazing description. We can here it is given. We can bring out a very amazing lesson for our life. Very amazing observation to do. Very, very important. Yes. Anyone got the point? If you have paid attention, you know what is being described. Then if you know what is being described, then you'll think what we can observe from this description. So just to give a gist how it is being given, here we read about the very good, Jashipur is writing, thank you. Yeah, here we read about the culture of the people were having in the citizens, right? That is the first part. The king himself was godly devoted, right? And he had performed the sacrifices, the charities, and then the service to the Brahmins and the gods, right? And then later we read about their external prosperity, right? How kingdom was so flourishing, the golden arch, right? And then the horses and the chariots and whatnot. It was like and it is compared as with what? Hastinapur is compared with what? Anyone remembered? Just at the end we read.
Prabhuji, like Indra's celestial capital.
Very good, very nice. The Hastinapur was so flourishing, it was as if like Indra's celestial capital, heavenly, a Swargalok. That much, it was like much more actually also. Right. So yeah, our Jashipur is writing a very good point. Yeah, Shubhampur is also saying by giving anything increases. We do not lose by giving. Instead, everything increases. Yeah. Yeah, main point I was looking, Jashipur has added very nicely. If we follow Vedic principles, we will flourish. Right. So material well-beings follows spiritual well-beings. This is a very amazing statement. You can all take a note. Material well-beings means what? To have a good wealth, to have a good education, to have a prosperity, which is like an external development. All of your understanding? Having a nice house, having a good wealth, having a good comforts for food, clothing, and shelter, right? In this regard, externals. So this is called as a material well-being, because these are all material things. These things doesn't come again for the future. When body dies, when person dies, things lives here only. So this is material well-beings follows spiritual well-being. Means what? What is meaning by spiritual well-being? Now can you say? Material well-beings I told. Spiritual well-beings means what? Material well-beings follows spiritual well-being. What is meaning by spiritual well-being? Anyone? Yeah, please unmute and say.
Going back to Godhead.
Yeah, okay, going back to Godhead. Yusuf is writing, yeah, being truth, humble, devoted to God. Yeah, basically leading a life of Krishna consciousness, spiritual well-being. Lead a life of Krishna consciousness, everything will follow. Materially, whatever is needed for us in our life, everything will come. Right? So we take Krishna's anxiety of becoming a devotee, of helping others, of sharing Krishna consciousness by sharing Krishna consciousness. So Krishna takes our anxiety. Krishna will take, okay, fine, what he needs, what he is having, what he has a difficulties in his life. Let me try to make him more better in his life. Right? So this we find. Kings were so ideal. They were so nicely ruling of performing yajnas, giving charities, right? Worshipping the gods, satisfying everything and all. That's why naturally citizens also followed in a very nice way. That's why we read the very good point here. What qualities they had? They were devoted to virtue, sacrifice, and truth. Like they wanted to lead their life of Krishna consciousness, standing on dharma, no matter what it happens, right? So this is one very important lesson we learned from this description. Okay, all of you understood the point? Is it clear? Yes or no? Yes. So I hope you can note down the point. Material well-beings follows spiritual well-being. We put our efforts to become Krishna conscious. Everything will come very automatically, nicely in our life. And very famous example we can see in the life of Srila Prabhupada also. Srila Prabhupada, how we worked for becoming, sharing Krishna consciousness as a service given to him. Krishna supplied everything. So much. He went with a 40 rupees, right? And in turn of 14 years, so much prosper and things became so much. Because Krishna sees, Krishna cares. He is our loving Father. And anyone remember another city of something compare like this, of a great lavish prosperity, and at the same time people were also of a great character? Anywhere else you remember the city something similar?
Vrindavan, like they are playing with butter.
Of course, they had a village beauty, but not like a city beauty. They did not had a palaces or goals or of course they had a good prosperity in that sense. Our Jashitpur is writing Ayodhya. Correct. That also comes in mind. Aniket Pru is writing correct. That's a Dwarka. All of you remember in Krishna book reading, if you remember, we had read how Dwarka was so flourishing. It was so prosperous. Everything was so right. Whereas if the kings are not proper, if the leaders are not proper, then naturally everyone gets suffered. So that's why future all of you also become the responsible people for our families, for our cities, for our country, even that level as well. So it's very much important to lead our life in a Krishna conscious way. Okay, let's see further how things goes in Hastinapur. Assisted by Bhishma, Dhritarashtra ruled over the kingdom on Pandu's behalf. Now quickly, a pop-up question. Can you say what is the answer? What is the relationship of Bhishma and Dhritarashtra? Quickly. What is their material relationship? Who would like to say, raise your hands? Quickly. Bhishma and Dhritarashtra, how they are related materially? Yes. No one hand is raised. Who would like to say the answer?
Yes, Prabhuji, can you repeat, Prabhuji?
What is the relationship of Bhishma and Dhritarashtra? In what way they are related? materially. Maternal.
Yes, Prabhuji. Bhishma is a.
Quick.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Dhritarashtra's uncle.
Yeah, yes, Jashit Pro. Yeah, Anish Pro is telling Dhritarashtra's uncle. Yeah, yes, Anish, Jashit Pro.
Bhishma is Dhritarashtra's uncle.
Yeah, correct. Your chat I read. Yeah, father's brother. Yeah. So Dhritarashtra's father, that is Vyasadeva. And of course, Bhishma was born. We all of us we read that history, right? Bhishma was not ready to unite with Ambika Ambalika. Then the Vyasadeva was called, and then through Vyasadeva, Ambika Dhritarashtra was born. Ambalika Pandu was born, and then again through Ambika, the Vidura was born. So I hope you keep the early lessons, early readings what we read. Huh? So assisted by Bhishma. So Bhishma, although also he did not sat on a throne also, because he said that okay fine. What is that name? Who wanted to see her son to become the king? Bhishma's mother in that sense. Who are there? Father and mother. The Shantanu Maharaj, and who is the wife of Shantanu Maharaj? Yes. Yeah, I'm asking Bhishma why he did not sat on a throne himself, because he said that
his father can marry Satyavati.
Satyavati. Shantanu Maharaj married with Satyavati, and Satyavati's father wanted Satyavati's son to become the kings. So then Bhishma says, okay, fine, I will take a vow that I will not sit on a throne and I will not marry. So that Satyavati was satisfied. Satyavati's father was satisfied. Okay, these all things we read before.
Because her successors also won't be, his successors also won't be Prabhuji.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So just when we read now, keep these things in the back in the mind, so that when we read the dealings and all, then we understand, so that it becomes very clear. So these are all related. So in any case, if some of you have not heard our early Mahabharata episodes, what we are covering now, we are in the chapter 3. You can watch on our YouTube channels we have uploaded, so that you get through in a proper sequence. Okay, let's go ahead. After hearing of Pandu cursed and his subsequent retirement, Dhritarashtra, despite his blindness, was officially installed as a monarch. He thought sadly of his brother and missed him greatly. But in his absence, he completely managed all the affairs of the state. So kings are compared to the arms of the society. Brahmanas are compared to the heads of the society, right? In that Varnashram system, we'll study about that also. So arms are needed to protect. If the king is not there, then the thieves and rogues will attack and disturb the citizens. So now Pandu is absent, somebody should rule. So Dhritarashtra was appointed as a king officially for the time being. But in spite of his blindness, he managed very well to rule the state. Let's see. It once came to pass that Vyasadeva arrived hungry and thirsty at Dhritarashtra's palace. Now let's see what happens. Now Vyasadeva is one since father of Dhritarashtra, right? So let's see. Gandhari attended to him conscientiously. Vyasadeva was pleased with the girl and blessed her. You shall soon have 100 sons as powerful as your husband. So because she served, what is that Sanskrit phrase? Anyone knows? How one should treat the guest. Very famous Sanskrit phrase. Who knows? Quickly say. Atiti Devo Bhava. Right? Atiti Devo Bhava. One should treat the guest as much as one treats the god. That doesn't mean the guests are the gods, but treatment should be given. One should not think, Are, you did not told me how you are coming, so I cannot welcome you now. No. Of course, nowadays a lot of fear is there for the people. In the name of guests, people cheat or things and all. But if you know the people are coming, our known people, one should give a great hospitality as much as best possible. So that's what she treated very nicely Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva bestowed her. Anyone quickly recall another lady got benediction because of serving nicely another sage? That will come in this episode, but just to want to check, anyone knows? Yeah, you can.
Same episode, Prabhuji.
Yeah, in Mahabharata episode only it comes. Yeah, our Jashitro, yeah, say. Anyone else who knows, please tell. Another girl served another sage very nicely. She also got the benediction. I am remembering.
Kunti Devi,
Kunti Devi served.
Durvasa
Kunti, that we read. Durvasa, she served very nicely. Durvasa bestowed her, okay, I'll give a boon. You can call any god and you can have a powerful son. One more example, it comes in my mind. Let us see how many of you recall. Another girl served another sage very nicely. So that sage bestowed her a very good benediction. This is not so discussed, but let us see, anyone knows. There, I'll tell the sage is Durvasa only. Who was that girl who served Durvasa very nicely? She also got the benediction. This is not recorded in some book or somewhere, but it is. Rukmini, I don't know, I did not heard. Not Rukmini.
Yeah, Prabhu, I told Kunti, Prabhu.
And Kunti already, Prabhu said, na? Anish Kumar Prabhu said about Kunti. It is about Radharani. Anyone knows? Mother Radha serves Durvasa very nicely. And then Durvasa gives the benediction. Very special benediction. Anyone knows? Durvasa says, yeah, anyone, whoever eats, right, he will never feel sick from the hand of Mother Radha. And that's what Mother Yashoda hears the news. She calls Mother Radha every day to cook for Krishna so that Krishna can be always healthy. I have to reconfirm this, but yeah, Radharani had got a benediction like this. Whether it is from Durvasa or what, I have to reconfirm. Okay, but the point is, yeah, someone is speaking. Yeah, so point is, we render service. Naturally, the superiors, the seniors, heartfelt blessings comes out, right? So we have to have a proper dealings to get the blessings, not the curses. Once we did one session, anyone remember wisdom tale sessions? Blessings versus curses. What is your earnings? So here the Gandhari has earned the blessings. Ravana earned all the curses only. In that series, we studied how Ravana got so many different curses. So our dealings will decide what we get in return from the superiors or the people around. In due course of time, Gandhari conceived. What is meaning by Gandhari conceived? What did you understand from this line?
Gave a child.
Gandhari got pregnant. Not gave a child, she became pregnant. So in her womb, the baby is going to come. That's the meaning. For 2 years, she bore the embryo within her womb, becoming increasingly anxious. So generally, embryo remains for how much period in the womb of mother? Yeah, you heard about, you know that. It's generally a period of, yeah,
9 months.
yeah,
9 months.
period of 9 months, right? But here what's happening? 2 years. Anyone knows any other example which was not 9 months? It was more. Quickly, any other personality who were there in the womb more than 9 months?
Sukadeva Goswami.
Prabhuji, Sukadeva Goswami in her mother's womb.
Yeah, yes. Shukdev Goswami was almost for
Kashipa.
Maharaj, 100 years. Prahalad Maharaj.
yeah, correct. So Shukdev, yes, Prahlad Maharaj especially, yeah, Hiranyakashipu's son. So, and Shukdev Goswami is also recorded. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also I heard. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also was there for a quite long time in the womb of Mother Shachi. So that's some examples, exceptional cases are recorded. So naturally, for us only, when we eat so much, our tummy becomes so big, we find so difficulty to walk. For mother, she has to bear the baby in the womb for 9 months. And here it has gone to 2 years. Can you imagine how much difficulty it will be? Then one day news reached her that Kunti had given birth in the forest to a boy as effulgent as the morning sun. Out of frustration and anger at her own excessively long gestation, she struck violently at her womb. I mean, you're getting the point. What she felt problem. You're understanding when she got the news that Kunti had given a birth.
Yes, Prabhuji, because she is thinking that even Kunti got her sons. Why am I not? My son is not.
Okay. Anyone more? Yeah, this is one point. Anyone more? As such, she might have seen many women giving a birth. Still, some underlying feelings are there. Who can catch?
Prabhuji, they are very heavy. Like
They are very heavy. Not exactly. See, Kunti especially is
not able to carry.
no, not that. Here we read, na, she got the news Kunti had given a birth. That's why she became very angry and frustrated and started striking her own womb also. Because Kunti is like a co-wife in the sense, right? Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, Pandu and Kunti. Now, who will give birth naturally will get the chance to go ahead for the king because being the kind of a senior or so. Getting the point? You are understanding thing? Yeah. So, anyone remember any other episode where the same thing happened? The two different mothers in the same family, but there was an issue about
Dhruv Maharaj.
Dhruva Maharaj, the throne issue. So these are kind of where to get the point properly. So Mother Gandhari was not able to tolerate that. Of course, many reasons are there, especially as a woman, naturally they will have feelings. As in general also, we also get feelings if some other our equals and things. That is the nature in this material world. So she struck violently at her womb. Can you imagine? She bet her own womb only. She then brought forth a hard mass of flesh that resembled an iron ball. So after beating, one iron ball came out. It was like a hard iron ball, not iron out, made up of iron, but it's like a hard iron ball. As her nurses informed her of the stillbirth, she was afflicted by grief and thought of Vasudeva and his boon. The nurses reported her what came out. And then she was thinking, Are Vyasdev gave me benediction of 100 sons. Then what is happening here? So let's read quickly. At once the sage appeared before her and said, What have you done? So how come the sage appeared at once? Can you remember? At once the sage appeared. How is it possible? Quickly, we read before also about Vyasdevs. Because
Prabhuji,
yeah.
whenever she calls,
Whenever anyone remember Vyasdev for a help, Vyasdev will appear. He has given a boon for his mother also, right? And that's what for there also. The sage appeared. What have you done? The Vyasdev asked. Gandhari told him how she had become overwhelmed with envy and frustration when she had heard of Kunti giving birth to Yudhishthir. So that effulgent son, illustrious son, that is Yudhishthir, the leader, the senior. With tears in her eyes, she said, I struck my womb and this lump of flesh came out. What then was the meaning of your boon? Vyasdev replied that his words could never prove false. He asked the servants to bring 101 pots, means 101 pots, filled with ghee. He then sprinkled cool water on the lump of flesh and it gradually divided into 101 parts, each the size of a thumb. Okay, so you're getting the you can just visualize that whole lump like a atta, right? You know, mother makes the dough for making chapatis, atta, and then take one balls. So like that, first it was because it was hard, it was sprinkled with the cool water and then divided into 101 parts, not 100, 101. These were placed in the pots which were then sealed and placed in a concealed spot. It's a secret place. It was not in a public place. Okay, Vyasdev instructed that the pots should be opened only after 2 more years had passed. He then departed for his lonely mountain ashram. Okay, so what happened further to these 101 pots and what all things comes out, that we'll study in our next week. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So just to quickly recap the lesson, what we learned today, can someone say what important lessons we learned in today's reading? Anyone noted that one phrase we said to all of you, right?
Material well-being follows spiritual well-being.
We saw how Hastinapur was so prosperous because the kings and everyone is ruling in a Krishna conscious way. So we also become Krishna conscious. Everything will come very, very well in our life as well. And then later, another incident we read about. One more lesson we learned. Yes, quickly before I tell. Who has noted down? Sorry, what, Jashit? What you're saying?
Serve the guest.
Yes, Atiti Devo Bhava, serving the guest wholeheartedly. Then naturally all the good blessings and everything will flourish in our life also. Their heartfelt blessings will come and our life will be blessed. Good things. As Gandhari got a blessing from Vasudev, and then we compared how Kunti had received the benediction from Durvasa and Mother Radharani's episode also. Okay. Thank you all very much for joining and giving your kind association. Let us end with the Vaishnava Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you all very much.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.